Welcome to the Haven Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders, owners, and professionals are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Hear from industry experts on everything from marketing, leadership, financing, and more. Brought to you by Haven, a co-working space where you can connect, create, and get stuff done.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Haven Hubcast. I am your host, Nancy Sheed, and I feel like I am here with celebrity rock stars in the financial angel investing world who are kind of hot off of some news. So please, I want to say welcome to Chris Gelnaw and Galia Gishon. They are the managing partners of the Tidal River Fund. Welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here. Thank you, Nancy, for having us.
And as I just alluded to, you all have some exciting news related to the Tidal River Fund, which we want to talk about, the fund itself, but it is a piece of a bigger organization called Tidal River. So before we talk about the fund, can you take us back to Tidal River and its mission before we jump into what the fund is, what it's doing, and who you're talking to?
Sure. So Tidal River was started a few years ago, and we were really formed under Connecticut Innovations, which is the VC arm of the state of Connecticut, and Allison Malloy, who works there, and Annie Lamont, who's our first lady and also a very impressive VC co-founder, basically said, where are the women in the room? They kept going to these events and saying there's no women in the room. So they reached out to some angel investors. Chris and I were in that group and said, hey, let's get some more women on both sides of the cap table. So that means more women investing, that's on the cap table, and then more women investing in either women-led businesses or just really startups of diverse founders. And so it was really started as an informal angel group that was given a lot of support from CI and the state to get more women investing in Connecticut and just more women in Connecticut investing. And that's how we were born.
And Chris, Galia's been on the Hubcast before in kind of her role as a financial expert as well as an author. Can you share with us your background that brought you to sort of be in conversation about angel investing, or what world were you in that brought you into this room as well?
Okay, well, you have to tap into the fact that I'm a million years old. So I started my career in banking and in innovation. I was in product management, and we would, innovate and get much more into technology solutions in banking. And then I moved into capital markets consulting, and then I took some time off to raise my kids. And then I went feet first into entrepreneurship. I was on the founding team of 2 startup companies, one that is still thriving, I stepped away from, and the other that I learned a ton of lessons from because it's not thriving anymore. And then I moved to Connecticut, and I teamed up with one of the partners that I worked for at KPMG Consulting, who had put together an accelerator program called The Refinery. And that was Janice Collins, who started the Refinery, and Galia and I met there and had an instant connection. Both have this love for entrepreneurship and innovation, and we stayed in touch, even though the Refinery moved on to become more of a consulting business out of Boston. And so when Tidal River was formed, I said, let me in, I want to help. And
I said, welcome.
Yeah, so that's how we stayed connected, and that's how I'm part of Tidal River.
I appreciate that sort of backstory. And so, Galia, you mentioned it was informal, right? So it was a group. You were empowered to sort of, as you said, bring people from both sides of the table. What did that look like in the beginning? Because I think that's going to help us tell the story of how you ended up getting organized with a fund.
Sure. So we started with these just really wonderful events that were being held. And again, Allison Malloy really spearheaded these events. We had these huge 50, 100-person events in Stamford and Greenwich and New Haven, just kind of all through Fairfield County. And there were, 100 people in the room, 100 women. We were listening to experienced angels speakers. We were listening to companies pitching. So it was really just more of an informational, networking, community-focused, And then we started informally because a lot of us were doing angel investing just kind of on an ad hoc, or we were part of other funds. And next thing you know, we just informally, there were about 5 or 6 of us that said, hey, we want to start investing in some of these companies. And I will say one of the advantages that we were able to work closely with CI, Connecticut Innovations. And so they were able to show us deals. We were able to have access to these deals. So we were kind of getting like a backdoor into some really great institutional deals. And we were able to invest with our own money. So we started just investing. And again, it was very informal. It was really investing just on our own, a group of us.
And I love kind of the, like, it was going on and the women were making things happen. Chris, can I ask you, for those who aren't familiar with angel investing or being accredited, like, I love that, it's being presented as informal, but could a woman interested in an angel investing walk off the street and hand somebody a check? Just a little background for those who aren't familiar with the kind of angel investing process as well, which I think also is going to help us talk more about the fund.
So to be an angel investor, you need to be considered an accredited investor. And an accredited investor, as an individual, has to have made $200,000 or more in the past 2 years and is on track for making that in the next 2 years, or have $1 million in liquid assets that's outside of home ownership. As a married couple, instead of the $200,000 per year, it's $300,000 per year. So the bar is not that high. But really, I think Galia will echo this. It's really important to be educated about what angel investing is. It's high risk, and it can be really rewarding, or it can be sort of, there goes your money. So again, really understanding the risks associated with the investment and understanding the whole process. And there's a process called due diligence, and it's really understanding everything you can know about a company that, without a crystal ball, that will help you understand if that's something that the type of risk you're interested in investing in.
And so again, at the education part, Galia, sounds like it was happening, right? And people are learning, and you're doing it informally, and some people are investing, and some people are learning, and some people are like, so what became the catalyst for kind of going from informal to, wait, brainstorm, we actually want to raise our own fund? Why are the reasons to do that? And why wouldn't you just consider doing it the way you were doing it before?
No, it's a really, really great question, because I'm so excited where we are, but I don't think anybody was like, oh, let's do a fund. Let's be a fund manager. I don't think that was like our initial goal, even though I'm so excited about the momentum that we have, is that, so first of all, the minimum to invest in these companies is $5,000, $10,000, $25,000. And this is a significant amount of money. Now, with that being said, that's $5,000 or $10,000 or $25,000 in one company. And that's a risky early stage investment. So with the idea with the fund, number one, is that we are talking about those same numbers that you would invest, but now you're investing in 10 different companies. So you're really spreading your risk. Our number one goal is to get a return and people don't lose their money. We don't want to lose anybody's money. But we also want to just diversify and spread the risk around. So that was number one, is that we thought, especially for people that were doing this as a first time, or maybe just hadn't done this a lot, we thought if you can invest that amount of money in 10 companies instead of one, you're much, much less likely to lose and actually more likely to make money, number one. Number two, I'm not going to lie to you, it was herding cats sometimes, just to and I think that was the last one that really cinched it. We did an amazing deal, loved it. It's actually a company that we met at Haven, and they're phenomenal.
Yay!
Amazing company, amazing founder. Good Sam, big fan of Heather Terry. And we ended up doing what's called an SPV, which was a special purpose vehicle. And we got, I think, 5 or 6 people. We raised a good amount of money. It was not easy, Nancy, like getting everyone to write the check. And it was arduous. And we thought, well, gosh, if we're spending so much time, and God bless Chris, she really, and if we're spending all this time on one deal, why don't we spend this time on a fund, and then we at least have the money? And by the way, it's a little bit of like a catch-22. Now that we have a fund, we're actually seeing better deal flow. Because now we're like, hey, we actually have some money raised. We've got 15 women behind this. We've got state support. Guess what? We're seeing higher quality deals.
Nice.
Which means better return on investment for us as well. And supporting the companies we want to support, which are women-led startups, diverse founders, impact. That's actually very, very crucial to our mission.
Awesome. And Chris, I was going to say, Haven is women-centric. Tidal River seems to have a focus on women, female founders. Sort of, how did you decide what the mission was? There requirement, aside from accredited investor status to be involved in your fund, what were other parameters to sort of distinguish your all's fund from other funds?
So we really wanted to empower women to make their own financial investment decisions. And so it's really, we're open to any gender classification. We're really women-centric on the investor side. And I wanted to add one more point about the fund. It's also gives people the opportunity to invest and clear compliance with any of their companies if they work for financial services or if their spouse works for financial services. So that was also important to us. But it's really, again, it's empowering
That's a
women,
great point.
Giving women the confidence to own their financial futures.
Fantastic. And for those, again, not familiar, so we've gone from being an angel investor and doing it by myself to, on my own, to you've created the fund. Do the investors have any input, or are you as the managing partners totally charged with it? What does that look like in terms
yes,
of
they have
deciding?
input. We are not the final say. So, there's a similar angel group here in Connecticut that has already done something like this, and it's specifically called a member-driven fund. So that means everybody who invests gets a vote to some extent. And I say to some extent, you might get 2 votes. It's based on how much you're investing in. Okay. So you get 1 vote or 2 or 3, or, depending, but you get minimum 1 vote. And we need a majority of votes to approve an investment. And so this is how this other angel group is doing it. So while Chris, and we have a third partner, Amy Betty, who's really focusing on our due diligence, the 3 of us are vetting, we're organizing, we're sleepless nights on this. We do not have final say over the investment, and nor do we want to. We don't want to have that fiduciary. We want this to be a majority. And what was interesting, Nancy, and we knew this, but we just recently had a lunch that was hosted by Annie Lamont about our fund. And what we're also doing is we're building community. There were 15 women in the room, including, 20, including other people, but 15 of us investors. And we finally have a community of angel investors within Connecticut.
Nice.
Which was amazing.
And we're going to perpetuate that with monthly meetings and pitch events and educational events.
That's fantastic. I mean, just back to Haven, the power of community, and whatever the common interest is, or elevating each other or raising each other up, I think is such a powerful thing. In terms of your fund, you officially sort of opened, you're up for business. Walk us through what that timeline looks like, or sort of how you structured it to be as operationally kind of efficient as you wanted to be.
Chris, I'll let you handle that.
Okay. Well, we started back in the late fall of last year, of 2022, and we just put it out there. We want to put a fund together. This is going to be our minimum. Kind of tapped into our networks to see who might be interested. And Connecticut Innovations helped us host a dinner in December with some of our key prospects. They were all very excited, very keen to be on board. And so at that dinner, we soft circled our minimum. And then we continued to just build it out. We had some great support from CT Next, which is another state organization that helps early stage companies. And so CT Next is a partner with us in helping to finance some of the operations of this fund. Again, the amazing support from Connecticut Innovations and Annie Lamont, helped us to really say, we're going to do this. And so we then tapped into all of those interested people and brought them together for this lunch on March 16th. And from there, we got our commitment. And so we are 75 to 80% at our minimum. And we think we're going to max out over our minimum. So it's very exciting. And if we get what we're expecting, we'll be in a position to start investing in June.
Awesome. And I understand the premise of a minimum. So you've got economies of scale. Is there a maximum, or do you have to, just being really optimistic, is there a maximum, or do you have to officially close by a time? Again, just understanding how funds work. for those who are new to this?
So I just want to start by saying from your mouth to God's ears, right?
Putting it out there, sister. Putting it out there.
Our official close date is September 30th. So we cannot accept money after that.
Okay.
And again, we don't want to project, but a similar fund is doing this where they do a fund like this every year. So if we really see like this success and momentum and tracking, we theoretically could do the same thing next year and just have a similar fund. Look, if we really see that we are getting just this huge inflow, like we would consider, because there's a lot of people voting. So we also are not looking to have this huge group of everyone voting with input. We're really happy with the group that we've got and we're open to new people, but I think we want to maximize or minimize, I should say.
Be efficient.
Be efficient, yeah. So
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so it is official September 30th. If we really see the coffers are flooding, overflowing this summer, we might consider doing it earlier, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and we're really thinking to keep the group tight and smaller to start. So we said we're going with a small fund. It's $500,000 just because we want to help build the community. And so it's less daunting and intimidating to have 20 women in a room than 40 people in a room. And so it's really, again, it's forging that sense of community. And then again, as Galia says, if next year we want to do another fund, we'll have this core group that will help welcome new members.
Nice. And you've mentioned, Galia, a couple times, another fund that's doing this. It sounds like then basically there's two in Connecticut, or like, what does the landscape look like across the country? I mean, is Connecticut ahead of the curve? Is Connecticut behind? Or were there some stats about how few women were angel investing? Like, set the stage for us of where the Tidal River Fund fits in.
That's a good question. So I will say one of the things that and I've gone to a few conferences in the last few months, one in Chicago, one in California, and I'm involved in a lot of groups outside of Connecticut. What Connecticut has that's unique is CI and CT Next, which are accessible, supportive. I mean, I have very, very good friends, and colleagues in New York, and people are like, oh my gosh, Connecticut does that? And I'm like, yeah, they do. So we are really, really, and you've seen it a little bit with Haven, how they're supporting Haven. So I'll just start there, that we are super, super fortunate to have that support in Connecticut. This other angel group, which is a fantastic group, does not necessarily focus on the types of deals that we wanted to see. So we really wanted to focus on deals that are diverse founders or impact or women-led. And this other angel group, which is a phenomenal angel group, and I have nothing negative to say at all, they're just not showing the deals that we wanted to see, frankly.
Great. And it sounds like a great compliment.
But the other thing is, angels all want to share deal flow because it's in everybody's best interest to get the most funding for the companies that they and we are supporting. So we have a great relationship. We're actually honorary members of this other fund in the state. We share a lot of information and deal flow as we do with Connecticut Innovations. And Galia has relationships with 28 plus other angel groups. So we're all trying to work together for the common good of these underrepresented founders. Right.
And Nancy, we are the first angel group that have women investors in Connecticut, like a group like this.
Congratulations.
That we are the first.
Awesome. Okay, I'm making a note. Like, that's a big deal. And thank you for doing it. Are there other, in the financial industry, there are lots of restrictions, and then also you obviously craft how you do your fund. Again, maybe this is education 101, but do you have a time frame by which you want to have your fund invested? And what does that look like? I know you're thoughtful about the return on the investment for your investors. And it sounds like the deal flow is picking up. What does that look like for you? Not to pressure you that you have to get invested, but you also don't want people's funds sitting around, even though interest rates are a little better.
Right. No, there's a few answers there. So number one, our goal is to invest these funds within the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Absolutely. The life of the fund is longer because these are, we probably won't see exits on this for 5 to 7 years, if not. But our goal is to have all of this invested within 2 to 3 years. That's number one. And then you had another. Oh, so one of our investment theses, which is really important for us, is that we are, in addition to investing in diverse founders or women-led startups, is we are only investing alongside what's called a lead investor. So that would be another VC group, another angel group, Connecticut Innovation. So it's a company that is, or an organization, or it could be like Westchester Angels or, another angel group. So we want to invest in companies that have been vetted, if you will, and that are already working with a little bit of a larger group. And it's just kind of mitigates our risk and frankly helps us with due diligence and lends validity.
Nice. And out of curiosity, are you limited by geography? You've talked about being a Connecticut fund. Are you limited by geography? Is there something that says it has to be in Connecticut or in the United States? What do those look like? Or is that, again, all what you decide to do, or just still exploring?
So we are nationwide. We haven't looked at anything outside of the United States, but we're not restricted to Connecticut. However, because we have the strong support from CT Next and Connecticut Innovations, we really want to give back to the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the state. So we are very eager to invest in Connecticut companies, but we are also entertaining deal flow from across the United States.
I love it. Well, I think we've sort of alluded to Haven and how you're working alongside Haven, and how I know some of your events have actually taken place at Haven. So in terms of, you guys are in a terrific position, as I was on your website. So your call to action is you're looking for both sides, right? You're looking for investors and you are looking for companies. What's the best way for either side of that equation to connect with your Tidal River Fund?
So check out tidalriverct.com. And I think that's the only website right now. And you can apply or just submit a form through either investor or company. Either way, and we'll get back to you pretty much ASAP.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I do want to add that Haven's been an amazing supporter of us, like really just amazing supporter. They have been doing these angel and educational groups for over a year. They do Haven Hatch, which actually one of our early investments came from Haven Hatch and telehealth. So we, it's a really, really integral part of our relationship.
I love it. And I won't speak on behalf of Felicia, but I know that the investing and building the entrepreneurial sort of just model and ecosystem is one of the pillars of Haven. So I love this part of the job because it's a give, get relationship. And it also goes back to that community building. So thank you all for being a part of it. And congratulations on the close of your fund. Not close, the start, sorry.
Launch.
To me, I was like,
raising the minimum.
Launch.
We just need to get to the minimum.
Yeah,
that's our
launch.
Maybe by the time this airs, we'll have closed our fund.
And that's so exciting. We'll try to get that in the show notes for the update. So we'll put links, any updated information, and watch this space for the success of the Tidal River Fund. Thank you both for your time.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you
for supporting us. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Haven Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders and owners are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Haven is a co-working space and virtual community located in the heart of Fairfield County, Connecticut. Haven is a hub for business owners and professionals to connect, create, and get stuff done. Find out more about the Haven community online at haven.com. That's HAYVN.com. Haven Hubcast is produced by Sound Advice Strategies.